Welcome to Two Sisters Podcast with your hosts, Kristy and Melissa, who are real sisters bringing you real talk about life and faith through humor, insight, and community. Now, let's get into this week's episode.
Hey guys, it's Melissa
and Kristy,
and welcome to Two Sisters Podcast. So today, our topic is toxic relationships.
Simple but complicated.
Right. And it's so much we can talk about. But we are going to, because our last episodes have been literally two or three episodes in one. Yeah. We're going to keep this, or try to keep this at a minimum. So,
we're really going to try.
Yeah. So, Kristy.
Yes, ma'am.
Toxic relationships. First of all, what is your definition of toxic?
I don't really have a definition. That's Melissa's thing.
You know what?
She can be all studious.
What? It isn't even.
Webster dictionary of the word toxic.
Again.
What are the origins of this word? What are the synonyms, the nouns, the pronouns, the verbs, and the adjectives associated?
I am asking you simply to say your definition. Like, what do you consider toxic?
Okay, so the reason why we came laughing in the introduction of this episode is because Melissa said, so what are you going to talk about with toxic relationships? I said, I'm just going to say that I was in a toxic relationship and didn't even know it. And she said, oh, that's going to be at least 20 minutes. And so that's why we laughed.
It's true.
Why we laughed coming into this episode. So, as you already know and have witnessed, that we're silly. Okay. And our sense of humor is very unique. Mm-hmm. Not many understand it outside of our family.
Right.
Because they're the same way. And we love them. We love our family. Both sides of our family are good, fun to be around people.
Yes.
Thank you, Lord, for letting us be born into the families that we were. Our family is just great.
That's what I need to be with. Like my Lord. Okay, one of my things, Lord. Lord. One of the things I do want in my spouse is a sense of humor.
Listen, it can't be.
He got to have one because
not only that,
I'm going to aggravate him.
He has to understand your sense of humor and your family. Let me tell you, our family is the type of sense of humor that you will be offended by, because we will have a whole tragic real life story.
Yeah.
And you would think somebody's going to stand up.
Yep.
Telling the tragic story. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So, I feel like a disclaimer has to go in place again. Okay, our sense of humor is very different, especially for Christian women.
Yeah, well.
So, you know.
I mean, loosen up anyway.
Hey, who is for us out there in the audience is for us.
Right.
Who is not, we're not supposed to reach everybody.
You know, no harm, no foul.
Toxic relationships.
Yeah, and your definition. You're gonna be the Merriam. You're gonna be the Merriam-Webster today.
Listen,
what's your definition?
Listen, again, I don't have a definition. I'm just gonna tell you how I tripped and realized was it a toxic relationship?
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so my last. What? Oh, I'm gonna give myself a try.
What is she doing over there?
My last long-term relationship was 7 years. Mm-hmm. And the relationship was with we both said, and I know people out there gonna be like, why do you keep on using air quotes in your voice? That we were Christians, because I'm air quoting. I know you can feel it in the tone of my voice. I'm air quoting. We both were Christians, but we, and I say we because I take responsibility. I was not living like a Christian, and he was not living like a Christian either.
But just because you're not living like a Christian don't mean you're not one.
So,
you don't got nothing to say?
I don't. I have no comments.
She pleaded the fifth.
I have no comment. So, for my life, I was not acting. I was acting up.
Yeah. Well.
So, with that being said, my point is we were both saying we were Christians.
Okay.
And we said that we believed in Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. And
we said that...
Wait, let me make this clear. I was about to say, let me make this clear. He said that he believed in Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, girl.
Wow. Okay.
Girl.
Well, all right.
You know that.
No, I didn't.
You met him.
I didn't. Okay.
Yes. He believed Jesus Christ died on the cross and died for him.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, all right. That's new insight for me.
Now, see, that tells you right there. That tells you right there why my voice says air quotes. Okay. She known him for 5 years, 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
and did not know he professed Jesus Christ as his Lord.
I did not.
All right. So, because of those labels, I did not identify myself as being in a toxic relationship. And we can just use unhealthy relationship as well. Because I know toxic is the buzzword. So that's why I'm reluctant to give a definition. But what I found myself in was an unhealthy relationship. I was not happy. And I'm not saying happiness means non-toxic. But because I was in a relationship on who I perceived to be a Christian man, who professed to be a Christian man, who believed that Jesus Christ died on the cross for him and his life. When I was being treated a certain way and being made to feel a certain way, I didn't identify that as toxic until after I got out of the relationship. And doing research as women do, right? Because we got to find a solution to our problem. We must label ourselves.
I don't know. I ain't.
Me, the type of person I am. I must label myself. I must educate myself, whatever. I have a background in sociology. Technically, that's what the degree say. Okay, that's what the degree say. On paper. So, a little piece of me, my academic brain, likes to study and label things. So there are all kinds of words that were put out there. Narcissist. I labeled him a narcissist. I labeled myself as an empath. I discovered, that's what the label said based on my characteristics emotionally, that I was an empath and he was a narcissist. And I have an article about this on my website. Something of, comparing a narcissist and empath and the dangers of labels. Because once I identified that I was an empath and he was a narcissist, then that allowed me to then make an excuse to stay longer than I should, which makes no sense. I know. Because now people label a narcissist and they're like, oh, I gotta get away from you because you're a narcissist. No. I was like, oh, I got to stay closer to you because I can help you out with this. I can love you through this. Now that I have the solution, now that I know the problem, I can find solutions so that we can make this work. Mixed in, right, with us being air quotes, Christians. And if I believe in Jesus and if he believed in Jesus, then we have the foundation to make this work. There's no reason why this can't work. But I was made to feel stupid, right? And it wasn't, I don't really know the terms like that. I think it's covert narcissist. I'm not sure, because again, I freed myself from those labels, and I freed myself from putting labels on other people, because biblically, it don't mean nothing. To me, biblically, it don't mean nothing. Because at the end of the day, you're dealing with spiritual things.
Yeah.
And it don't matter what the label is.
Mm-hmm.
You're dealing with evil spirits. You're dealing with evil oppression.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Domination. So I was made to feel stupid, but he never came right out and said, "You're stupid." Because then I could say, "You just called me stupid," and then I would have a defense for that. And then he would have to defend himself. No. He didn't say it that way. He would say, "You're the smartest person I know. You have such and such degrees. You have such and such career. So I don't understand why you da-da-da-da-da-da." Right? So in my mind, I'm like, "Did you just call me stupid?" But you can't, you know what I'm saying? When you're in this situation, you can't be like, "You're talking down on me. You are degrading me." Because technically, right? Because these particular people are masters at this. You cannot say that they called you stupid. Right. You cannot say that you are degrading me. Because the words that are coming in his mouth are, "You're smart. You're the smartest person I know. You're so accomplished." So where in that did he say, "You stupid"?
How can you not understand this? I'd be like, "Sir,
why I don't understand why you don't understand this." Right?
Sir.
All right.
And I would say, "Sir, I don't." Okay.
So once again, I'm educating myself. I'm coming out of the relationship. I'm like, okay, so this is what this is. Stonewalling, all kinds of terms.
Stonewalling.
Right? So
what's stonewalling?
When I don't actually know. I don't actually know anymore. That's what I'm telling you. I let these things go.
Okay.
But at the time, they were so important to me. But I think it's something like, I'm not even gonna speculate.
Okay.
Look it up. Okay?
All right.
And excuse me, I burped.
Oh.
So that's one small example of what. But these were like daily emotional battles. Okay. To the point where, and I'm sure lots of people are familiar with this, even in career-wise or in your work environment, you find yourself walking on eggshells, right? We've heard that term. Mm-hmm. And I found myself walking on eggshells in a relationship because I didn't, it was like an emotional minefield. Mm. And I didn't know what I would say that would trigger a reaction that I didn't want, a reaction of anger, or a reaction of rage, a reaction of, belittling and downgrading. Again, not coming right out and, being forthright with it, but the undertones are, you're treating me less than and you're speaking to me less than. Mm-hmm. So, from day to day, I found myself being less than myself and not being my full self, not being my whole personality. I retreated into religion as far as, okay, well, let me pray more. Let me go on a fast. Let me pray for these particular attributes of my man. Let me speak life over him. He's more than a conqueror. He's intelligent. He's calm. He's not easily angered. When, yes, he was intelligent, but he was not easily angered. So I use these biblical principles, and I try to manipulate the ungodly man to a godly man. For me. Now, I'm sure the person that I'm talking about that I was in this long-term relationship with, he definitely identifies himself as a godly man. And, he would disagree. Mm-hmm. So this is strictly my opinion on what I experienced and my experience of our relationship. So I try to use the Bible, and how married women say, speak life over your husband.
Yeah.
Speak. If he is not that great in finances, then you speak stewardship over him. If he has this particular job, but you want him to see more and do more, then you speak this particular scripture, or you renew his mind, you speak over him, you wash him with the word. Well,
what happened to his free will?
He's supposed to wash us with the word.
He is.
We don't talk about that. But anyway,
what was that quote you said? I found myself. Do you remember what you said?
No, girl, I'm spitting from the dome. I want to be a rapper so bad. I can put two sentences together that rhyme. Man, I want to be a rapper so bad. Not good. I think I said I tried to make an ungodly man.
No, I found myself something. You said something about yourself, but anyway, go ahead. Well, all right.
So, and that lasted a couple more years, right? Because, this man was, he wasn't the devil,
All right.
He wasn't Satan himself. He would come, he would apologize, he would say he was wrong, how I was the best thing that ever happened to him, and how he prayed for me, and
the best thing smoking since sliced bread.
The best thing smoking since sliced bread. And he realized I'm a good, godly woman. And he respects the fact that at one point in time we were abstinent. We were not having sex because I said, hey, we're not having sex. And so we went a year or 2 years without having sex in our relationship while planning a marriage, while planning weddings. I had planned 4 different weddings at least.
We're not going to go there, right?
Right?
Yeah.
So I thought these were all signs that my prayers were working. And, God was hearing me, and this was the man I was supposed to be with. And there was all kinds of things that I thought were God that were not. Because I feel like that's a whole nother episode, but
just give me 1 or 2.
Well, for instance, I would fast and I would pray, and then he would change. And the whole time, I don't know if God necessarily told me do not be with him or do be with him. Right? And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for he is the one. He is not the one.
Okay. You wanted him to come from heaven.
I wanted him to say that to me.
In a thunderbolt voice or something like that?
Not thunderbolt.
Oh, okay.
Not thunderbolt.
Oh, okay.
Just simple.
All right.
And so I wanted it to work so bad. I had been single for so long before this relationship. When I met him, I was 32. When I ended it the final time, I was 39. Before that, I was abstinent for years and years and years and years. So I wanted it to work because I didn't want to have sex with a man that was not my husband.
Okay.
And, he wasn't like a murderer, so we could make this work. What's my logic?
Oh, okay.
Oh, boy.
So
what I said, what I interpreted as answered prayers was really just a man maturing. Let's look at this. We were together for 7 years. So, there were some things that he did initially that I did not do. He cursed a lot. He drank liquor. He smoked cigarettes and other things. And, he just had a different mentality than I did. He had a street mentality. I had a corporate mentality. We both grew up in the city, but I had a suburban mentality. It just is what it was. So when he then stopped cursing, when he then stopped drinking, when he then stopped smoking, I was like, oh, these are all the things I've been praying about. But it was just a man maturing. going into his 40s, going into his late 30s, like,
okay,
yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to
smoke, drink,
cuss anymore.
Be out in the streets, yeah.
Right. I want to build business. I want to get my money up. I want to I want to get health insurance.
Why they always go around 40 get life?
Right, get that. Our father got his life at 45. Became a business owner at 45, and I remember being like 20, being like, Daddy, what? Now we close to 45, like trying to get our life together. So judge not, people.
Well,
okay?
I think we had our life a little bit.
Judge not
Before Daddy did.
Well, anyway, we're expanding on what our father and uncles taught us.
Yeah.
And as far as business. So yeah, you had a question for me?
Yeah. So I wanted to ask about because this is interesting. Because again, we're talking about mindset, because that's pretty much what it is. Other than, so I want to know the emotions. Like I like to put word to the emotions to help those people out there to kind of like, oh wait, could I be in this type of relationship, and maybe I should evaluate this situation a little bit deeper. I want to use the word deception. Do you think that you were deceived by him? Or, just spiritually, like what?
100%. I was not deceived by him.
Okay.
I was deceived by the evil spirit that was oppressing him.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Which to this day, I truly believe he does not think that he is evilly oppressed. Like 100%. There's no way he thinks he is. Oh, I don't know. You know what? I don't know. It's been years since we've been in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I was deceived. Say it again.
It has been a couple
years.
Wow.
It's been a couple of years since
I
ended that relationship, and it was a positive transition for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do, and it's why I am a coach to women who are in situationships, who are in relationships.
Situationships.
Yeah, because I need to put that word
out. We all found ourselves in that.
Yeah, I need to put that out there.
Willingly.
Because people are going through.
Yeah, I've been in a few.
Tremendous hurt and pain.
Mm-hmm.
In a situationship. If you're in a situationship, that means you do not have a label.
You do not.
You understand me? This man is not claiming you.
You understand me? Say it again.
You understand me? This man is not claiming you, or
she not claiming him.
Not claiming him.
Right.
Come on now. And I've been in a situation.
But you know what's so crazy? I've been in a situationship where I didn't care that I didn't have a label, and I was the one. I was really the leader in this. Because I did not even want to give him the label. He wanted it, and I was like, no.
Phases in life.
Right.
Phases in life.
Yeah.
But it's the reason why I can now help women come out of those situations and recognize that this is not this is not healthy. Nah. That this is not something you have to accept, should accept, need to accept.
Nah.
Right?
Nope.
Because we all have this story in our mind. We're telling ourselves certain things and we're believing it. And that keeps us in unhealthy, toxic relationships.
Yes.
He was not punching me in the eye. He was not kicking me. He was not spitting.
He put his hands on me.
He was not spitting on me.
Right.
Right? I mean, when we play fight, he did. I'm like, did you respect me for real? Cause I'm sorry. I'm not trying to make fun of it. So, or cheated on me, to my knowledge. So because I was not, Melissa believes he was cheating on me, but I still don't. But, that's neither here nor there. Only the Lord knows.
Right.
So because he was not cheating on me, because he was not beating on me, I really didn't find an excuse that the world, my friends, associates, Christians, girl, you got a man. Girl, he opened a door for you. Girl, he brought you that ring. Mm-hmm. Girl, he writes you poetry.
Make it work.
He writes you poetry.
What I give. See, and that's the thing. People settle for a piece of a man, or a piece of a male, because I don't like to use the word loosely, man. Okay, a piece of a male that have all of the things that you need, that you probably shouldn't be using in the first place, right? If you're not even married. So that's a whole nother subject too.
Check out our episode where we talk about spiritually uncompatible.
Not spiritually compatible.
Mm-hmm. And I go more detail in that there. But when I came out of the relationship, I realized it was toxic and unhealthy, because I was walking on those eggshells and I wasn't on an emotional roller coaster. And from day to day, I adapted my behavior so I wouldn't piss him off.
Right.
So I wouldn't make him angry, because I just kind of stayed as not meek, but I didn't want to cause some problems because I wasn't meek. Like we would argue. And another thing, ladies, is it started to change me.
Yes.
It started literally to change my whole personality, to the point where 5 years into the 7-year relationship, 5.5, I cursed him out. Every cuss word I could think of.
That is so funny.
I cussed him out. I remember the month was September.
That is funny.
Okay, I know what year, but it was September. And I cussed this man out, because I have been holding it inside. Now, he had cursed at me before. Not per se cursed me out, but he cursed when he talked, and when he got angry, and he would yell and just rage. And so for 5 years I took it, and then one day I cussed him out, up, back, front, and I put curses together that didn't even sound right, because I wasn't a cursor. Now in my mind, I have been cursing him out the entire time. I told you that I had issues with being offended and being angry, and although it would not come out my mouth, in my mind, listen, okay, I was taking all types of revenge in my mind. So it started to change me, and there was things that I was accepting that my sister specifically was like, "You're taking this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay." He stays out. He works this many hours. Like, really, Kristy? And I'm like, "Yeah." He says he's pulling the double shift. Point is, I didn't have to take it, and I didn't want this relationship to fail. I wanted to have a good testimony, an overcoming testimony with this man, that we made it through the opposite sides of the track, coming together because they love Jesus. But here's the thing. This is where we differ in our air quote Jesus relationship. Okay. I, at the time, and I'm going to say at the time, that's a whole nother thing, I believed in tithing. And so I was like, well, you're going to have to tithe. Like, when we got back together, you're going to have to tithe. And he's like, damn, we're not going to have sex. And he's like, okay, well, in order to keep you, fine, I'll do these things. But he didn't believe in those things. He didn't believe that there was anything wrong with us having sex. He didn't believe that you should give to, church. No. Now, he gave to the homeless all the time. He would walk, see somebody, needed money. He would, say, in the name of Jesus, he would give it to him. And he didn't believe in going to church. Nay, little bit.
Not nay a little bit.
No, it wasn't part of his life. And that was really not a part of anybody's life.
Right.
But the principle of it, right? And so as someone who wanted kids, who purposely withheld from having children with my then fiance, I wanted to be married. So he was fine. I'm talking about month 3 into this 7 relationship. Let's have a child. I'm thinking like, huh? No, sir. But I could have been a single mama. I do not judge single mamas. I could have been a single mama a couple times over with a couple baby daddies, right? But this is where God has planted me in this time, and I am. I don't have children yet, and I am waiting to have children with my husband.
Yep.
So I thank God that I'm still able to do that. So it was a spiritual struggle, and there are a lot of things that he didn't even understand. He didn't even understand the Holy Spirit. So inside, I'm trying to live the biblical principles of loving him, right? Love is not easily angered. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not hold a record of wrongs. Mm-hmm. But that was like Spanish to him. You know what I'm saying? So when he would treat me the way he would treat me, I would still try to come back with him in love. Mm-hmm. And that was part of my breakdown as well, because I was using religion as an excuse to stay. Mm. So again, I don't have a definition for toxic relationships, but I gave some toxic traits,
right?
Some unhealthy traits that I now, the world identifies as me being in a toxic relationship. So I can speak to it. I can speak to the mentality that kept me in that relationship for so long.
Okay. Well, that was a great explanation, because again, and here we go, pretty much summing up the episode. So toxic, unhealthy, to me, it is toxic is unhealthy. All right. But we're specifically speaking of unhealthy relationships. So some of the key things that you said, characteristics of it, treat it in a certain way, made to feel a certain way, like made to feel stupid, having emotional battles. That is so crazy. Like reaction, you didn't want his reaction. So you would walk basically on eggshells, or you would be more cognizant of his reaction, or how he would react, or how he feel, and then basically dismissed what you wanted.
Absolutely. My whole existence, much of my existence, was about how to make him happy and not make him angry.
Right.
How to avoid making him angry, unhappy, irritated,
right,
aggravated, anxious, aggravated, stressed.
Right.
Anything I could do to not bring out those emotions, I did.
Yeah.
And it was a prison. It was an emotional prison.
Yeah. And you said walking on a minefield. That's
absolutely
crazy.
Absolutely.
Right. And then made excuses to stay, and you chose to stay, and because you figured out the problem. So basically you did the research to find out what's going on, and then thought you can change him.
Oh yeah, the whole time. The entire relationship, I was waiting for him to change, because religion said he would. And that since he said the words out of his mouth that he was a Jesus believer, that's all I needed. As long as I had that, he would change spiritually and biblically for me, so that we could be equally, quote unquote, yoked.
Right.
Even though we were absolutely not compatible.
Yep. And so speaking of that, you spoke spiritual, like affirmations or confessions.
Girl, yes.
And basically
a whole 2-3 vision boards.
Right. But again, you said you basically manipulated, because you tried to turn an ungodly man to a godly man by using religion.
It's called witchcraft.
Exactly. I was letting you go.
No, it's called witchcraft.
Yep. So manipulation, right? Okay.
But we don't know that.
Exactly.
We don't know that, and we're innocent of it. And it's not like we're saying, oh, we're calling on these spirits, or we're reading our horoscopes, we are seeking advice to do a love spell on this man.
Manipulation is witchcraft, period.
No, that's not what I was doing. I was using scriptures that, and speaking life, quote unquote, over this man, to basically change him to the man I want him to be.
Yeah.
That's witchcraft.
Right. Manipulation.
For me, it was.
Manipulation. And it does
now, I know that now.
That is actually.
And I have repented for it.
It is. Wait, you I mean, you ain't gotta.
I'm just saying, I'm trying to get myself right. I don't want nobody out there. I want nobody out there thinking that I was okay. Once I found out what that was, I absolutely repented, and I absolutely
do better.
Ask God to forgive me, because I am not playing with my soul and spirit.
Right.
I'm not.
Right. When you know better, you do better, right? When you know. Which is a bunch of scriptures is rolling around in my head. But basically, people perish for the lack of knowledge. That's what it is. And just like we said previously in other episodes, like, you have to account for yourself. I was like playing around with yourself, whatever whichever way you want to say it. Okay, you are responsible for you. So another inside joke. Sorry. So yeah, like you are responsible for you. Okay. And yeah, and so I really wanted to bring that out again. Manipulation is a form, and it says it in the word, but we all gloss over that. I've glossed over it plenty. Okay, but that's what it is. Okay, and then I asked about you basically being deceived, because that's another thing. That's the only way the enemy can get you to basically do his work for him, is to deceive you. So deceived by evil oppression, he was oppressed. And then I asked you how. You said signs that prayers was working. Well, you thought it was anyway, but what you realized is that he was just a man maturing.
That's all.
I think that's such a
little bit. He just grew
such a good point to make, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, women,
it was not a deep.
Women, please evaluate. Like, okay, you met him at 20, y'all now 40. Okay, he's supposed to grow. Like, hopefully. Oh, anyway.
You thought that was funny, huh?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Why is it funny?
Oh no, but it is, like, because I'm just thinking of myself, like,
because we make it so deep, is what you're saying.
Right.
Like, it's Christianese it and remix like, it, and it's
right,
so deep, and it's the boy grew up,
man,
a little bit. Like he just grew up.
He just matured.
7 years, 8 years,
10 years, 15 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm even going back to, like, I'm just thinking of our adult elders as well, like, dude. Anyway, moving on. And the fact that you wanted it to work so bad. And I'm giving these simple, practical examples so you can also see, okay, what's holding you there? Why are you still there? Because you want it to work so bad. Like, if these things sound like you, just take a minute and evaluate. Like, please. And this is one of the top things for me, because I was on the outside of it. But when she said that it changed her personality, and it's not just her, it's all of us, every woman in this whole world, I believe, have had this happen to them because they're so in love with this man, or not the even fact, because honestly, I've come to the conclusion that I was not in love with people, but it's like, you've been there so long, you don't want to start over, you have history, what's other excuses, that just keeps you staying in an unhealthy relationship.
And you're afraid, there's a level of fear that you won't find someone that quote unquote will accept you like that particular person does, or whatever that means for you.
Right.
For me, it was, I could just be myself. What was myself? Well, I don't like makeup. I don't like heels. I really don't like clothes. It's only because we got to go out here with clothes on.
Right.
Not to offend little people. You know what I'm saying? You can't just go out here. There's kids here.
Right.
And so, I have natural hair, but I might perm it tomorrow. Do not play with me.
Oh my God.
Okay, so natural community don't come after me. I might put a relaxer, perm, whatever you want to call it, straightener, whatever. I might even throw a wig on my head. Listen, okay. Currently, I'm natural.
Right.
But that may change.
I ain't against the wig.
That may change. But the point is, he accepted me in all of my natural glory. And I didn't have to wear heels. And I didn't have to wear makeup. And so I didn't know at the time if another man would necessarily let me just be free being me. Another
deception.
Exactly, because even though I've already told you that I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be myself. I had to be the person that did not piss him off.
Right.
I had to be the person that did not stress him out, because it was all my fault.
Mm-hmm.
It was all my fault to have the other person tell me, which is the reason why I was on a minefield.
Again, mindset, right? Again, so changing your personality, you being someone you are not. You're not authentic to yourself, which causes inner turmoil, causes inner conflict, causes just inner torture. You pretty much feeling torture because you're not who you were made and created to be. So again,
yes, ma'am.
Didn't want it to fail and wanted to be married. And that's what I believe too. Sometimes it leads to desperation, which I do believe we are.
Did I say I was desperate?
Did I say? I said we. So I'm talking in general.
Clearly there was some desperation.
I'm just talking in general for women.
Even if we don't identify it, right? Because what would keep you holding on so strong?
I wasn't even talking about you.
I'm just saying. It's in your notes based on my story.
But it's in my notes for me to say to women. I didn't think you were desperate.
I didn't think I was desperate either. However, staying in an unhealthy, toxic relationship screams desperation of something.
For love.
Right. Validation.
It's some type of void.
Security. Right?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be like I'm thirsty for a man. But no, I got male attention while I was in that 7-year relationship.
Yeah.
I had men approach me, for dates, and I would say, hey, no, I'm engaged, or I'm with him, I have a boyfriend, da. So I still got male attention. I knew that I could be with someone else, but there had to have been, if we examine it, a level of desperation. There was voids that I was trying to fill. Mm-hmm. And that's what we mean by desperation. And that's what I mean. Too much.
And that's what I mean exactly for women. Like when you make these excuses, and when you want to be married, you don't want to fail and look like a failure. You thinking about other people's opinions. So you thinking about other people's opinions, you are not being your true self. You are completely allowing his personality to change your personality. It's like, ma'am, how is that healthy? So that's the question you need to ask yourself. These are the checkpoints that you should actually evaluate and ask yourself. Okay? Am I this? Like an if then. If this is happening, then okay, like I am allowing him to treat me this way and then I go retreat. Is that healthy?
And again, we are not, and I am not trying to paint the picture that this was all on this man. Absolutely not. Mm-mm. Because I was not imprisoned. I was not locked in the house. I was not chained. Mm-mm. At any point in time, mm-mm. I could have left. But like Melissa said, it was the mindset that kept me chained or imprisoned in the situation, mentally and emotionally.
Right.
And I was spiritually deceived. Right. So we are all responsible for our actions. Mm-hmm. And once I decided that I chose to get a different result, which meant leaving.
Mm-hmm. Cutting it off. Like cutting all ties, severing it, uprooting it, burning it to ashes kind of thing. Okay? Leave it in the past. Leave it there. So, yep, that's all we have to say. Still went over 30 minutes, but still less than an hour. You can find information about Kristy because this is really her niche as far as relationships, situationships, and all them other ships that seem to be floating out there in this world.
And I encourage you to share your toxic relationship story with us and your situationship experience with us. Reach out to us.
Yep.
We would like to hear from you.
And
because we know there's so many different stories and different experiences. So we don't want to say, obviously, that my experience is the only experience.
Right.
Share,
like, subscribe. You can find Kristy information about Kristy and all of her resources and free tools on her website at kristymagazine.com. And you can also, but you won't find no relationship information on my site at all. But I do deal with the mindset. I do deal with healing, and so does she. So you can also read about me and all the free resources that I have on my website at melissamagazine.net.
Don't shortchange yourself. Melissa's big on renewing your mind and how that looks as a woman and finding yourself back to yourself, which is what I had to do.
Yes, I am definitely big on that. So all of that information is at melissamagazine.net. I also have a network called Life by Design Network. It's a free group on Facebook right now because I am going to have my own exclusive network. So get in while you fit in, while you can. All right.
And why you fit in?
Where you fit in?
Is it why you fit in?
I don't know. We don't know. We done changed.
Oh boy.
Anyway, guys.
See how we be wrapping so bad. Tell you, boy.
Thank you guys for joining us. We love you. Have a great week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Two Sisters Podcast, where we hope to encourage you on your journey of transformation and healing while having fun along the way. Follow us on IG and Twitter. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family. It's available on all major podcast providers. Just search for Two Sisters Podcast. Till next time.